Welcome to NTTS, the leading financial and political news channel. I'm Jason, here to break down the most important developments in the global markets and political landscape. Without further ado, let's take a look at today's headlines. Russia weighs benefits of Trump's ceasefire proposal amid ongoing Ukraine conflict. Analysts suggest that Russia could gain economic and geopolitical advantages by accepting U.S. President Donald Trump's proposed ceasefire to end the Ukraine conflict. However, the Kremlin appears firm in its objectives and is reluctant to make significant concessions. Soft on the U.S., firm on Ukraine. Trump has emphasized his commitment to ending the conflict in Ukraine as soon as possible. On February 24th, Russian and U.S. officials met in Saudi Arabia to discuss a partial ceasefire, focusing on halting attacks on energy infrastructure and Black Sea shipping routes. While Ukraine has expressed willingness to sign a comprehensive ceasefire, Russian President Vladimir Putin insists on securing additional concessions first. According to analysts, the Kremlin sees an opportunity in Trump's eagerness to broker a peace deal, even though the outcome of negotiations remains uncertain. From Moscow's perspective, improved relations with Washington could bring significant economic and geopolitical benefits. The New York Times reports that Russia views Ukraine negotiations and U.S.-Russia relations as separate issues, while Putin seeks a decisive victory in Ukraine. He is also open to discussing Trump's ceasefire proposal to explore potential advantages from a thaw in relations with the U.S. Vyacheslav Nikonov, deputy chairman of Russia's Foreign Affairs Committee, noted that Trump and Putin are building a bilateral agenda that does not necessarily involve Ukraine. Ukraine is in a disadvantaged position, with attacks continuing. However, for President Putin, relations with the U.S. are more critical than the Ukraine issue itself, Nikonov said. Improving ties with the U.S. could provide Russia with economic benefits, such as access to spare parts for Boeing aircraft and geopolitical advantages, like reducing NATO's presence in Europe. However, it remains unclear whether Trump would leverage this to secure a better deal for Ukraine or if he might lose patience with Russia over time. Trump prefers quick deals. If negotiations become too complicated, he may grow frustrated and abandon the issue, said Alexander A. Dinkin, an international affairs expert and advisor to Russia's foreign ministry. Putin appears eager to build a positive relationship with Trump. In a March meeting with White House envoy Steve Witkoff in Moscow, Putin presented a beautiful portrait of Trump painted by a Russian artist. Witkoff described the moment as remarkable in an interview with Fox News. Despite this, there is no indication that Putin will abandon his core demands, including preventing Ukraine from joining NATO, reducing Western influence in Eastern Europe, and limiting Ukraine's military capabilities. Prospects for Russia-U.S. cooperation. Fyodor Voidolovsky, director of the Institute of World Economy and International Relations in Moscow, believes Russia will seek a broader agreement before agreeing to any ceasefire. He suggests that Russia might accept a UN peacekeeping mission in Ukraine, provided it excludes NATO troops. Long-term strategic interests matter more to Russia than a short-term ceasefire. Both sides could develop a framework allowing Russia, the U.S., and NATO to coexist without infringing on each other's interests, Voidolovsky said. To achieve this, Russia is pushing for Trump's proposal as a foundation for negotiations. Voidolovsky argues that a comprehensive agreement on Ukraine is essential for U.S.-Russia cooperation, and Trump, as a businessman, may recognize that Russia's assets are currently undervalued. Dinkin speculates that the Kremlin may remove the U.S. from its unfriendly nations list, which restricts American companies from operating in Russia. This could facilitate discussions on aviation, allowing the U.S. to resume exporting aircraft parts and restoring direct flights to Moscow. Additionally, Russia might permit U.S. airlines to fly over Siberia, a privilege revoked in 2022. Anastasia Likacheva, head of international relations at Moscow's Higher School of Economics, suggests that Trump is unlikely to impose harsh sanctions on Russia in the near future. Improved relations with the U.S. could lead to the easing of existing sanctions, making it easier for Russian businesses to operate globally. A thaw in relations could be highly beneficial, creating numerous opportunities for Russia, Likacheva emphasized.